Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. We got Circle. We got Elizabeth Warren wanting to ban self-custody. Uh-oh. Guess what? The SEC just broke the law, says John Deaton. We're going to hear from him, Stuart Alderati, and more. And we got this, ladies and gentlemen. Gary Gensler's response to breaking the law at the SEC. PayPal UK, Ripple Q3 report, something's missing. We're going to talk about it. And Mastercard, did you forget? Mastercard and Ripple, somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.32 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is up 0.6%, 34,600 plus for Bitcoin, 1,800 and change for Ethereum right now, 84.7 billion plus for Tether market cap. XRP is 60 cents and it's up 1.6 on the 24-hour and 8.7% on the 7-day. Let's get into this. The range of price right now on XRP is 58 to 61 cents. We know that we are in a critical area and we need to stay up above in this range and above it, and preferably above it, for things to go where we want it to go. So we will keep an eye on that. Is a very critical point we're at right now. But let me tell you something. I've never felt so smart as when I opened up my iTrust Capital account, because you can buy and sell crypto in your back office, gold and silver, IRAs. They are the best in the business. Don't believe me? Click the link underneath the video. Look, when I'm 59, I'm going to have all kinds of stuff in my portfolio that's tax-free. Because the only thing better than buying crypto is buying tax-free crypto. You can roll over your 401k, TSP, 403b, and all other options. All you have to do is click the link and get started. And here we go right here. Mark your calendars. It's today, ladies. Oh, I'm sorry, tomorrow. Things are getting away from me here. Tomorrow, you're going to see CEO Simon McLaughlin of Uphold and CEO of the business enterprise side, Robin O'Connell, sitting down for a fireside chat with Link2. I bet you this is going to be a remarkable conversation. These two guys are ultra bright, incredible backgrounds. I can't wait to hear them discuss the recent partnership with Uphold and Ripple. That would be amazing. Let's take a look at this. Circle, a stablecoin issuer, announces discontinuation of support for consumer-only accounts from November 30th, 2023 on. Now, this is interesting because the company's CEO, Jeremy Allaire, recently revealed that 70% of USDC stablecoin adoption is from non-US markets. And I happen to feel the article didn't glean a lot. I read the whole article, but it didn't glean much more than what we're talking about here. It said, as a part of its global expansion, Circle plans to establish its European headquarters in Paris, France. Now, with this being said, I just happen to feel like this is something we're going to watch very closely, because I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's a shift coming because of hopeful. I'm trying to be glass half full here, right? Maybe we do get stablecoin regulation, and maybe Circle is trying to pivot a bit to look more attractive for prudential regulation. I'm guessing. We'll see what happens. I'm not guessing about this. Senator Elizabeth Warren finally admits what we've known for months here. Yeah, she says it out loud. They want to make self-custody a crime. Take a listen.
Last year, you wrote that, quote, in their attempt to avoid being traced, illegal actors have adopted ever more sophisticated cryptocurrency technologies, such as non-custodial wallets.
And there's the bullseye being put right on the back of your self-custody wallet, right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're all criminals, right? You couldn't possibly be a responsible citizen and have self-custody. Well, I tell you, it just doesn't stop. She is the gift that keeps on giving. I say when subpoenas, this is big stuff right here. This is new from Chairman Patrick McHenry, and Senator Lummis released a statement following the USGAO, which is Government Accountability Office, determination on the SEC's Governing Staff Accounting Bulletin 121. It says the GAO confirmed what many suspected. SAB 121 is subject to congressional review. This rule would impose massive new requirements on financial institutions and other firms to place digital assets on their balance sheet as a liability with a corresponding asset. Ultimately, this would deter institutions and firms from offering custodial services, denying Americans access to safe and secure custody of their assets. SAB 121 was drafted with zero input from prudential regulators, and the public and now Congress must step in to block this harmful rule, says Patrick McHenry. Now, we go further. Representative Mike Flood here. The GAO has spoken. Staff Accounting Bulletin 121 is a rule, not mere guidance, as the SEC claims. Rest assured, Congress will act to rein in Chair Gensler's overreach on this issue. Well, they need to do that and so much more, but this is a great place to start. Cody Carbone says here from the Chamber of Digital Commerce, wow, the GAO has concluded that the SAB 121 is not merely a bulletin, but an agency rule. Here's what it means. The SEC failed to comply with the law. That's right. The same agency and the same guy who's going out here and telling everybody else they're breaking the damn law. Congressional Review Act, CRA, states that all agency rules, unless an exception applies, must be submitted to both houses of Congress and the Comptroller General. The CRA allows Congress to review and disapprove rules issued by federal agencies for a period of 60 days. If a resolution of disapproval is enacted, then the new rule has no force or effect. Resolutions of disapproval will need to be passed by both houses of Congress by a simple majority vote and then signed by the president. If a joint resolution is successfully passed and signed into law, the regulation is nullified. The agency that issued the regulation is then prohibited from reissuing a similar regulation without congressional authorization. The SEC did not comply with the law and tried to gaslight the GAO and the industry by saying it was merely an agency statement, a non-binding. This is a blow to the SEC and a win for a clear, fair custody rules for digital assets. How about that one, Elizabeth Warren? Time will now tell whether Congress moves to disapprove this rulemaking. Now, here's further comments here. Perry Ann says, rightfully so, from the Chamber of Digital Commerce, shout out to her. The irony, while imposing new rules on industry, the regulator didn't follow the rules that apply to him. This is the arrogance of this organization and the head of it, Gary Gensler. And while all of that is unfolding, Gary thought it'd be nice to just crack a little Halloween joke yesterday. He said, if Satoshi Nakamoto went as Satoshi Nakamoto for Halloween, would we be able to tell? Happy 15th anniversary to Satoshi's famous white paper that started crypto. And I say, normally this would be funny, but understanding that this is coming from someone who doesn't mind wrecking hardworking entrepreneurs like Library while giving favor to the likes of FTX and Prometheum. We know what they're about. Stuart Alderati chimes in here and to the GAO findings here. He says, while Mr. Gensler is making bad Halloween jokes on X, his agency is being shamed for ignoring the law that requires agency rules to be reviewed by Congress. Seems the SEC has become the lawless Wild West Gensler loves to talk about so much, and what an irony that is. John Deaton makes it clear here. He says, this is a clear statement from a federal agency that the SEC broke the law. Ever since the Ripple lawsuit, the SEC has consistently not followed the law. A federal judge literally stated that the SEC's enforcement lawyers and the leadership they report to are not only hypocrites, but they also lack a faithful allegiance to the law. How about that for your hard-earned tax dollars funding this government agency? He goes on to say, it was an incredible statement for a federal judge to make. I was shocked at the little attention mainstream media paid to such a shocking statement. Here's what I can say with great conviction. Today, the SEC does more to hurt investors than it does to protect investors. It has become both an inept and corrupt organization, full stop. Shout out to Jake Travinsky for highlighting that fact as well. And Eleanor Terrett says in the response from the SEC, said that the conclusion only affects the guidance as interpreted under the Congressional Review Act and not the status of the bulletin itself. You know, this is the arrogance of this man and this organization. Something has to be done to rein him in. We're waiting, Congress. Meanwhile, overseas in UK, payment giant PayPal has received approval from the Financial Conduct Authority, their version of FINRA, FinCEN, and the SEC in one, to offer crypto services in the UK. And then this came out, which is the Q3 2023 report from Ripple. Fantastic. Transparency. We love it. But I noticed a change. Do you remember how we used to report on often down here around these breakdown of numbers, on-chain activity, and everything else to go with it? There would always be comments in here about how Ripple does not sell to programmatic exchanges. They only sell to on-demand liquidity partners, and Ripple buys back off the market. You remember that? That is not in this report anymore. And I have to feel that it has something to do with the positive impact of the ruling that XRP in and of itself is not a security, because they don't talk about what they're doing anymore. And I love it. And I think it spells good things to me. Here, if you can see as an example, Q2 of 2022, Ripple has continued to engage in sales solely related to on-demand liquidity, and these volumes have ramped up substantially as Ripple's ODL business expanded globally. That was Q2 report of 2022. And then down here at the bottom, if you look too, Ripple has been a buyer of XRP in the secondary market and expects to continue to undertake purchases at future market prices as ODL continues to gain global momentum. This is the comments that I'm talking about that were in previous reports years before, every single quarter, that are no longer there. And I have to feel it's because of the positive ruling that we've gotten in the court case. We shall see. Makes me more excited, to be honest with you, about the relationship and partnership from Uphold and Ripple together. Then there was this very quickly before we wrap out of here. We got a couple more things to show you, and you're going to want every bit of it. Deloitte, one of the 4 biggest consulting accounting firms in the world, app based on Stellar and Ripple. Where does it say it? I know someone asked over here, and I'll tell you where it says it, and shout out to Rohit Q for sharing it. It says right here, Deloitte has partnered with existing blockchain platforms for enhanced integration such as Stellar and Ripple for this app that is being shared and talked about here, FX rate pathfinding. This is fantastic. And I can't wait to see and learn more about it as it develops here. Swift Community PM PG announces update timelines here. And as we have said, this is more evidence that we are living in what Swift refers to as a coexisting phase. You're going to get more evidence of that from Chad Steingraber right here. It says Swift cross-border payments reporting CBPR migration to ISO 20022 began in March of 23, already underway, and will end in November 2025. During this period, data-rich ISO 20022 messages can be exchanged over the Swift infrastructure. This is where we're going. We are in the middle. Talk about crossing the Rubicon and all these other phrases that you hear people say, you know, crossing a threshold, right? A tipping point. We're in it. We are in it. And Swift is in it until 2025. And then there's great news right here. You'll remember that we covered this just a few days ago here. IBS, Swiss Route, and RippleNet, and Mastercard. You see it all right here, and Alchemy too, right? Alchemy too. But you see all of the connections here between them, right? Well, what I wanted to show you here today is that last year in 22 as well, which is getting ready to happen again, November 8th, November 9th, another 7 days. That should be exciting. But look at this. This was the chief digital officer from Mastercard. Listen.
You've been very vocal about you think this is as transformative, crypto, as the internet was in the late 90s when it first came into being.
The internet.
I'll have to read it. I'm afraid it's got music in it. But internet was distributed network to allow people to transmit information. A blockchain is distributed network that allows people to store and transfer ownership of assets. I have been convinced, I have the conviction that for that vision to realize itself, the financial industry needs to come on board. There's no other way. There's no other way for blockchain and these business models to go mainstream. And there you have that without the financial industry working together, right? That's what we're talking about. And here, look at this. This just came out today. Shout out to Big Skinny for this. It says this showed up in his email today. Borderless Payments Report 2023. Making money go further. Just launched Borderless Payments Report. It says today we launched Mastercard's third annual Borderless Payments Report, our global survey that sheds light on money movement experiences of more than 11,000 participants in 15 countries. Yeah, that's where we're going, ladies and gentlemen. And before we get out of here, I want to invite you to join us in the Freedom Zone. Look, it costs almost nothing. It's 20 cents a day, $6 a month. That's what we're talking about here. It's nothing. But I'll tell you what is something: censorship. And I've got content in here that we could never dream of talking about on social media platforms or YouTube. And you're going to hear it in here. We're going to talk about that private island that nobody wants to talk about that they went to. And we're going to talk about the perception versus reality and a dystopian world and digital ID concerns, the dark side of a digital age. We got that and so much more content in here. I'm asking you to join us, but make sure that we can stay connected without running the risk of having something happen to myself as it did Digital Asset Investor, as he was silenced for no reason. After building a community of over 300,000 followers on X, he was wiped out in a moment without any reason whatsoever. You can click the link under the video or go to digperspectives.com, no spaces, digperspectives.com, and click on the Freedom Zone and join us and start having a conversation today. That's it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. These are exciting times, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you inside the Freedom Zone.